Boys, not good. The truck is smoking like crazy. Look at this. Oh shit. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. All of a sudden this thing's just kicking out a ton of white smoke. I came up last night up to where I was camping. Everything was going well. Working yesterday. And I was sitting up there idling for a bit with my heat on. All of a sudden I started to get smoke like in the cab. So I got out and started looking around. I'm like, what is going on? Thought maybe because I had a bunch of blankets and stuff up front. I thought maybe because I was blocking my heater, something was going on. But then I was worried. So then I fired it again this morning and the same thing happened, right? So now I figured maybe because I was sitting on an angle, something weird with the oil. I really hope it's not like a blown head gasket. Look at it all. You guys probably can't see it. It doesn't smell a ton like burning oil or coolant. I mean, it could be a head gasket or like valve seals or piston rings or something like this. Getting a bit of oil in there. Oh man, no! I really hope it's not a blown head gasket, but it's throwing the signs of that. It does burn through coolant, this truck, but it's got a coolant leak in a couple of the hoses, so I always just thought that was that, right? And it does burn oil, but from what I understand, these engines always burn oil. It's kind of what they do. You guys probably can't pick that up, but it seems to be a bit less now. It's still there, but it's not as thick. Just my luck, eh, boys? Still kicking out smoke, but not as bad. So it's possible that being parked on that angle did allow some oil to seep into an area of the engine. It wasn't getting cycled properly and caused it to burn a bunch, and now it's just burning that off. Because it was running fine, wasn't doing this at all. Okay, I'm gonna try this again. I've said this like 4 or 5 times now. This thing ran out of storage again. So I've had cars with blown head gaskets before. I had 2 of these Cadillac STSs with the North Star 24 valve. The first one, it started to heat up or overheat or was burning coolant. I can't really remember. It needed a bunch of other work too. I ended up scrapping the car. I sold it for scrap because it sat in my driveway. It was starting to go moldy and everything. This was a beautiful car. I drove around everywhere. These were super luxurious, really good on the highway, fast, I don't know if you guys have ever had one, but they just didn't last. So they had an aluminum block in them that would warp, and the head gaskets would blow on them right around 240,000 kilometers. So I was without car for 4 or 5 months. I biked to work up this big hill where I was living up, and I finally saved up enough to go buy another car. Well, I wanted another one of these caddies because I really missed my other caddy. So I bought the exact same car, a gray one this time, from this dealership over here on the west side. And it started to heat up. I'd get it on the highway, it would start to overheat. So I thought, well, what is going on with this thing, right? Like, this one's got a blown head gasket too. I'd already been through this, so I knew they blew head gaskets. So I took it back. There, the smoke is gone now. Almost gone. There's just a little bit left. So it's to the point now where I can't see any coming out of the tailpipe, and I'm seeing less and less the longer it idles, coming up over the cab here where I can see a bit of sunlight hits it and lights it up. Oh, boys, if that solves the problem, that will be huge. I was starting to get stressed out. I thought I was gonna have to put another $2,000 into this thing, because like, what, trucks are crazy right now. I got all this work lined up, boys. I'm about to take this big trip back east, but I've got 3 jobs lined up now. So now I was talking to the old man this morning, I'm even thinking, should I even come back, right? Like, gotta make sure she's recording. I started thinking, should I even come back? Because I've lined up all this work now, and I don't want to miss it. Oh, I'm not going to miss the work, but I could probably do that and line up even more. And so I really need the truck right now. So I didn't want to have to buy anything else. So I was already thinking, like, I'm going to put this into a mechanic shop and get a new head gasket in it, or valve seals or whatever, and it's going to cost me $2,000 or $3,000. So now that it's idling away and not smoking, well, it's smoking a little bit, but not as much. I don't think it's got an issue. It's not overheating. I really do think it might have been something to do with the angle I was parked on. Maybe you guys can write in the comments below, somebody that really knows engines. Parked on an angle and idling for a long time, start to see a lot of smoke. Possible the oil's pooling in some area of the engine that's then burning, right? So I came down here where I'm a bit more level, and now the smoke seems to be going away. So to go back to what I was saying about the caddies, so these guys sold me this second one from the scam dealership. I tried to get a coolant flush, all that stuff, didn't work. So I went back to them. They said, oh, must have been the way you've been driving it or whatever. At this point I had it like a month, so they weren't taking it back and they weren't giving me my money back. What a nice thing to do, eh? A guy who works and rides his bike to work to save up, he's got no money, gets scammed by some older guys. I was a lot younger than them, so that they could take a bit of money, have more money, and buy more cars to scam more people with. So that wasn't a very nice thing of those guys to do, and I'd imagine they got some bad karma from that, because they knew that head gasket was blown on that car when they sold it to me. So I took it into a really good mechanic, because they kept telling me, no, it's got no blown head gasket. I didn't know much about this stuff yet. I got a really good mechanic down here in town, and I went to him, and he said, he did a compression test, everything, couldn't find that it was showing that it had a blown head gasket, but he's saying that's the only thing it could be. That must be what it is, because the only symptom it would show of a blown head gasket is you'd get it on the highway, it would overheat. You'd get going around 100, it would just slowly start to creep up, right? So the coolant system on it wasn't pressurized. I don't know if I said that or not already on this video, because I've had to re-record this video 6 times now. So it's kind of a rough morning here, seeing all that smoke and I'm thinking, holy, like, I'm about to take this thing in and drop another $2,000 on it. A couple years ago, I had to put brand new leaf springs in this in my driveway with jacks and everything. That was with the shackles and everything, and it was close to $2,500 just in parts, and I did the work all myself. The truck was barely worth that at the time. So it was the only thing I had, right? And so I just bit the bullet and did it. So now here I am thinking this morning I was about to have to do it again with this thing. But so that was stressful, but it still is, because it's still strange that it was showing all that smoke. But here now, there's barely any. I can see barely any. Little tiny bit, but mind you, this thing does burn a little bit of oil, right? If I park for a bit and chill and then fire it up a bunch of times, it'll kick off quite a bit of white smoke. So that just could be the normal oil burning of the truck, which these engines do. So I don't know what else I had to say. I had a whole lot to say on the first time I recorded this, and I turned around and it wasn't recording anymore. So boys, I've been banging out work. I got a ton of work lined up. I got money in the bank, about to take a trip, but at the same time, if this was going to be a catastrophic failure with this truck, I was thinking it might be a blessing in disguise, because I'll buy a different one I can work with, and this one can go become a bush buggy until it's destroyed, which I really don't want to do, guys. Like, I've been thinking about destroying this truck and getting another one I can drive, but this truck has done everything for me. I have a really hard time destroying it. It literally has made me so much money. This truck's made me over $100,000, and I only paid $5,000 for it. I lived in it now. It's provided me a place to live. It's gotten me all over this province, up in the bush, everywhere. So I've seen all this cool stuff. So it's kind of hard to just total it, right? I want to hang it on the wall in my big shop, the bush truck shop. And it's the original bush truck. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know. I got nothing else to say. I forgot my whole rant from the first one. But that was pretty stressful. I'm happy that it doesn't really seem to be smoking now. Doesn't really seem to be smoking now, boys. So maybe one of you guys who really knows engines can write down below if it's possible that because I was parked on an angle, like, there is still smoke, right? But not near as much. So you would think that if it was a blown head gasket or something like that, or anything out of the norm, that this thing would be throwing a lot more smoke as it sits and idles and keeps going, right? Wouldn't think that getting it up to operating temperature would stop it from throwing smoke. So it's hard for me to tell now if it's throwing more smoke or less than usual. But it does smell kind of a little bit different too. It doesn't smell like burning coolant. I suppose it could be burning oil. But I've never really sat and idled and watched the smoke. I've just known that it smells nasty when it does smoke. But this smoke kind of smells a little different. Either way, a guy would think that it would be getting worse right now, or staying as bad. Oh, here it is here. There's some smoke here. So it is still throwing some. Anyways, I might have to take it in, see Lyle again, let him know what he thinks of it, or just keep running it and see if it starts heating up or just dies on me one day. Got another, can make another quick 10,000 with it and just buy another one. Sorry for the disjointed video. I'm all over the place. Gonna have a fire, gotta burn a bunch of scrap cedar and go down to town and upload these. Thanks for watching.